Hey guys, time to move on to the next step. So I have my watercolor paper. So that's my paper with a visible texture. You should be able to see an actual texture on this paper, and that's what I want you to pull out. I have two sheets because I'm going to do a vertical and a horizontal version of my project for you as examples, but you only need one sheet. And we definitely want to try to use our watercolor paper, but if you ran out, you can use that thick tagboard paper or whatever the thickest paper you have left is. Go ahead and use that, okay? So quickly to go through this, I'm going to do a horizontal and a vertical version. You're just doing one of those, and you're using your sketchbook designs as inspiration to what you want to do on this final piece. Do you want to do it exactly how you did it on your sketchbook, or do you want to change it up a little bit? So kind of think about that right now as you kind of get settled and get ready to go, and then you can start designing. So I'm going to start with my vertical, and I do like how mine turned out. I think I'm going to make this one a little bit shorter. So I am going to make sure that my first one on my left side is nice and tall, making sure my ruler stays nice and straight up and down. Okay, and then all of my rectangles connect to each other. So from here, and then I'm going to come down. And then I did like this one going down pretty low here, just to give some variation in height on my paper. Okay, and then I'm going to make this one kind of drop down 1, 2, 3-ish, kind of like stair steps. Excuse me, guys. All right. And then remember that my city or my castle stays within the edges of my paper, so I want to make sure that I can see the left and the right sides of both pieces, okay? So that's step 1. Step 2, remember, is to start taking up your levels, your stories, your floors, whatever you want to call them. And then you decide, this is where I might make the most changes, is deciding where I want things to kind of connect and split up based on the location. Okay, move this up on the camera for you. Sorry, guys. I'm gonna scooch this out of the way a little bit more. So I like to kind of line the tops up with some of the like floor levels on another piece. I think that helps kind of unify it a little bit. So I'm going to do the same thing here. So I'm going to connect this kind of all the way across there. Looks like I need maybe one more line over here. Okay. All right, so then my next step is to break things up with my diagonals and my triangles. I did like that I used the 3 triangles on the tops here and then leaving this one empty. I am going to do the same thing for that. So remember, I'm going to make my dot kind of in the center above my towers, and then using my ruler, connecting back to the edges, using my ruler for absolutely everything unless I am making a circle or a curve for an archway or a tunnel. Okay, so those 3 are done, and so now I'm going to decide where I want to do diagonals. How do I want to do them? Do I want to split them both ways so that I have 4 pieces in some sections? Let's see. So this larger section here, I got to decide what I want to do with it. I do like the concept of a circle. Let's see if I've got something else to trace that's circular but not super big, because this one that I use for the sun is a little too big. Let's see, I'm looking around my desk. I've got a glue stick here that might work. Yeah, you know what? I think I'm going to use this. I'm going to make 2 circles. So I'm going to hold this steady and make 2 circles here, almost like windows. I think that actually looks kind of nice. So good improvisation, even though I didn't have the circle tracer size that I kind of wanted to use. So again, you do not have to keep this identical to your previous design. It does not have to look just like this. Take the time to really experiment and make it different. That's kind of the cool part about revising your designs, just like you would revise, you know, a letter that you're writing or something like that. And I had an archway. I think I'm going to put it on this one. Okay. So these remind me a lot of like building blocks. I don't know about you guys, but I definitely get a vibe of like playing with my kids or even my childhood and building and stacking those shaped blocks. Mine were colored. I don't know if you had any and what they looked like, but I enjoyed playing with them. All right, I think I've got maybe one more thing to do. I'm going to do it here, the same shape I did above it. Okay, so the last piece I have is to trace for my son. Remember, I talked about wanting to kind of bring it down. This one, because I moved this right side of the building down, I don't have room to make it overlap or underlap. I want to fill up this corner of space as much as possible. All right, so the vertical version is done. So now I'm going to move on to my horizontal version. And if you feel ready to rumble and get out of here, you can go start your design. I'm going to correct my mistake from my practice page from not having an edge there. Keeping my ruler. I'm going to shorten this up a little bit. I made it too tall. So I'm going to erase that section here and there. Ooh, it's getting a little bright. Let me turn down my light for you guys a little bit. Let's see if I can make it even better. There we go. Now you can see a little bit better. All right. So I'm probably going to change my horizontal one a little bit more than I did my vertical one. I just wasn't as happy with this one. So I'm just changing kind of where my tall buildings are versus where my short buildings were. Just change it up a little bit. Oh, let's see. I'm going to drop down, I think. The cool part about this project is I've done it a lot, and you know, I never really have made the same thing twice, so that's kind of fun and different. All right, climb back up a little bit. And then I've got to leave space for this last structure, and I'm going to go tall here. And it's okay if you have, like, this one's going to be a little skinnier than my other ones. No two city buildings or castles are alike, so it's totally okay. All right, so now I need to decide, like, where my triangle tops are going to be. Am I going to use any at all? Definitely want one here. And I think I'm going to use one here as well. But then deciding, you know, where do I want the rest of them to go? I'm not sure. Do I want there to be more or not? I think I will do one on this opposite side over here. But I think the rest of them I'm going to leave empty, so that's fine. So now I'm going to go and split up my floor. So I kind of did that in reverse order, but that's okay. I just really had an idea and I wanted to make sure I sort of stuck with it. one here. Here, here. Break this one up a little bit. This is probably like the trickiest part for me, even though it turns out fine no matter what, but it's really deciding where those horizontal lines are going to go to make the different building structures. I think this looks pretty good. So now I would take the time to add in my diagonals and any archways that I want. And then we're going to call it a day. But you don't need to watch me do that. You get the idea now. So I cannot wait to see what you've come up with, whether you chose to go horizontal or go vertical, and why maybe. And now we're going to get to color next. All right, guys, have a good one.